When I just kind of heard what they were doing, and of course you have Caitlin, who's drawn eyes from all around the world. That was like, why would I not? Why not be a part of something great? You go from Diana, and now you're going to a team who is going to be a contender for a championship.
Sophie Cunningham didn't tiptoe into Indiana. She kicked the door wide open. Before Fever fans could blink, her brand new jerseys vanished from store shelves, leaving everyone wondering how a role player could ignite such a frenzy. Was it her sassy energy, her fearless approach on the court, or something else entirely? It's not often that an athlete arrives in a new city and instantly sends shockwaves through the entire league. But that's exactly what happened. In this video, we're diving deep into the whirlwind around Sophie Cunningham, the devoted Indiana fan base fueling this merch mania, and the surprising ripple effects now shaking the WNBA to its core. If you think this is just about one player selling some jerseys, prepare to be amazed, because there's a much larger story unfolding here.
Well, it was like 10 hours ago that it became off season for us. I think it's going to be good for us all to kind of step away and get a break for a month or so. Get some surgery, hang out, relax with the family, friends.
Sophie Cunningham's first hours in Indiana weren't about polite handshakes and rehearsed smiles. From the moment she set foot in the Fever's practice facility, she made it clear that this wasn't just another roster change. Fans had seen Sophie in action before, her competitive streak at Missouri, her fiery spells in Phoenix. But seeing that energy come to Indiana was like watching a thunderstorm roll in on a clear day. The press conference that introduced her to Fever Nation felt more like a pep rally than a formal event. Sophie grabbed the mic and with zero hesitation, promised to stand up for her teammates, play fearlessly, and bring a whole lot of sass to the floor.
I think that you saw spurts of what the future holds for us. There's going to be, Dee, don't know if she's coming back. If she's not, that's going to open up a lot of money for us to bring some phenomenal athletes in here.
Fever fans, who've spent years craving a bolt of lightning to jolt the franchise, ate it up. The comment sections under every social media post lit up with excitement, as if they'd been waiting for exactly this attitude all along. Sophie's passion wasn't just talk. Those who know her game know she can be a spark plug, someone who sets the tone defensively and isn't afraid to mix it up in high-pressure situations. The cherry on top was her unwavering confidence. I'm fierce, I'm sassy, and I don't back down. For a team that's trying to build a fresh identity, this sounded like a battle cry. The typical niceties that come with new signings didn't apply here.
I'm so excited. I think it's refreshing. I've been in Phoenix for the past 6 years, was drafted out there. I've had a really great time. I've been very blessed with being around a lot of GOATs in the game and learning the game on another level.
Sophie barged in with a grin and a challenge, saying, "Let's see what we can build together." And Fever fans were all too happy to accept. The moment she held up her new number 8 jersey for the cameras, the buzz hit a different level. Comments poured in, "I'm buying that jersey today." Or finally, some fire in Indiana. If you didn't know who Sophie Cunningham was before, you'd assume she was the next big star, purely based on how loud the reaction became. Excitement soared, speculation began, and fans speculated out loud if this could be the missing ingredient Indiana needed to elevate from underdog to legitimate contender. By the time Sophie left that press conference, it wasn't just Indiana's front office talking about her potential. The entire WNBA fan community was tuning in, trying to figure out what exactly was going on in the Hoosier state. But that wasn't the whole story. While Sophie's swagger set the stage for something special, nobody, including her, could have foreseen how quickly things would explode once the jerseys went up for sale. She hadn't even laced up for her first full practice, and she'd already ignited a spark that seemed on the verge of transforming the entire franchise. Within hours of Sophie holding up that crisp new jersey for the cameras, the Fever's team store website lit up like a jackpot machine at a Las Vegas casino. Fans rushed online, determined to snag her number 8 jersey before anyone else could. But in the blink of an eye, poof, almost every single size was sold out. For any WNBA player, a rapid merch sellout is huge. For a newly acquired role player, it's almost unheard of. Imagine being a casual shopper, strolling onto the Fever's official store page, expecting to have your pick of the sizes. You see Sophie Cunningham number 8, click the item, then watch as a giant sold-out label stares back at you in red. The confusion morphs into disbelief. Wait, who's Sophie Cunningham again? She's not a reigning MVP or a multi-time champion, but her jersey basically disappeared from retail existence within hours. Yet fans weren't just disappointed, they were fired up. Messages flooded social media from, "I can't find her jersey in a large anymore," to, "I just want to rep Sophie, but there's literally nothing left." Meanwhile, around the league, other fan bases started asking questions. WNBA watchers hopped on social platforms to debate why a mid-tier signing was attracting so much attention. Was it purely hype? Was it her outspoken personality? Or was there more to the story, like a deeper hunger in Indiana for a jolt of passion on a roster? As the speculation intensified, so did the search for Sophie jerseys. Shoppers tried local sporting goods stores, third-party sellers, even rummaged through leftover stock from last season. Everything had vanished.
But again, like, this is just a new style, and this is the style that I thrive in. When you have people who can shoot the ball, who move the ball, who are running gunners, and share the ball, like, this is the type of offense that I want to be in.
Suddenly, you had online marketplaces popping up with a few scarce Sophie Cunningham jerseys, sometimes priced double the retail amount. Scalpers realized they could flip them for profit. Fever fans who'd managed to buy early found themselves flooded with private messages from desperate supporters willing to pay extra. It wasn't just a merch frenzy. It felt like a cultural moment, the kind that occurs when anticipation merges with an unpredictable star's swagger. And the shockwaves spread far beyond Indiana. You might think an unexpected jersey sellout is all sunshine and celebrations, but the WNBA rumor mill spins fast. Whispers began to circulate that some of the league's bigger names felt miffed, maybe even threatened, by the attention now pouring in Sophie Cunningham's direction. After all, established stars like A'ja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, or A'ja Wilson, yes, some folks spelled her name differently online, typically dominate jersey sales. They're used to seeing their gear at the top of the charts. Watching Sophie suddenly surge to the front of the line rattled more than a few people. Some fans claimed A'ja Wilson's loyal supporters took to message boards, venting frustration and confusion. How could this new arrival, not exactly an MVP or a household name, outsell the reigning top dogs? The tension fueled conspiracies that the Fever's front office might be inflating numbers or orchestrating a social media push. Yet every official source insisted the sales data was legit, driven purely by organic fan enthusiasm. Sophie's confidence and outspoken persona fan the flames. On more than one occasion, she's tweeted playful jabs at competitors, never afraid to flaunt that sassy streak. Certain players, rumored to have big egos themselves, didn't appreciate the stir. They saw it as disrespectful, maybe even out of line for someone who's still building her resume. Meanwhile, Fever fans cheered Sophie louder, praising her for not backing down from anyone and lauding her for bringing a new flavor to a team craving an edge. But the controversies didn't end with A'ja Wilson's fans feeling snubbed. Other corners of the WNBA conversation started connecting dots to bigger issues, like which markets get the most support, how the league's marketing machine chooses its poster stars, and whether we're witnessing a new wave of fandom that thrives on no-filter personalities.
I think that was a huge inspiration. But honestly, there's just not a lot of people who are pros who were able to maybe give these girls here in the Midwest a platform. And
Sophie, knowingly or not, had stepped onto a battlefield loaded with opinions, rivalries, and long-standing debates about who really belongs at the center of women's basketball. Indiana is known for its basketball obsession, but many doubters believe that fervor revolved mostly around Caitlin Clark, who has become a phenomenon in her own right. For the past year, any mention of Indiana's fan base often came with a caveat. They're only here for Caitlin. Once she's out of the picture, they won't show up. Yet the instant sellout of Sophie Cunningham's jersey started changing that conversation. Clearly, Hoosiers are hungry for more than just a single star. They want a team, a full roster of personalities they can rally behind. Caitlin Clark has her own gravitational pull, no question. The talk around her possible future with the Fever has fans salivating, ticket lines forming months in advance, and social media in a perpetual frenzy. But now with Sophie's arrival, it's evident that Indiana fans are willing to embrace any player who gives it her all and isn't afraid to show a little attitude. One local sports writer put it succinctly, "We're not a one-person fan base. We love big personalities who come here to win, and that's what Sophie's about." All those questions stoke the flames of excitement in the Fever community. You can find threads online with Indiana fans daydreaming about a future starting lineup that includes both Caitlin and Sophie, dominating on the court while fans flock in droves. The mention of A'ja Wilson or other established stars often leads to heated debates, but one overarching theme emerges. We support everyone wearing that Fever jersey. Fans from other teams sometimes roll their eyes, accusing Indiana loyalists of being arrogant or naive. But the numbers don't lie. Indiana supporters are buying up merch at a pace that leaves the rest of the league in awe. That's not just talk. It's real, quantifiable proof that the Fever fan base is on a mission to transform its team into a powerhouse, one jersey at a time. At first glance, it might seem like we're talking about a small, localized phenomenon, just a chunk of Indiana fans draining store inventory of Cunningham jerseys. Yet, the broader significance goes well beyond that. Women's sports have been battling for higher visibility, better merchandise availability, and equitable treatment for decades. The fact that an athlete like Sophie Cunningham can spark such a huge wave of buyer demand reveals a deeper shift in how women's basketball is perceived and consumed. For years, skeptics claimed there just wasn't a market for WNBA merchandise. They blamed poor sales on lack of interest, low visibility, and a handful of tire excuses. But now, with social media amplifying players' personalities and fans becoming more connected than ever, the entire narrative is evolving. We're witnessing a moment where an outspoken, fiercely competitive player can land in a new city and instantly capture the imagination of thousands. Merch sells out, conversation skyrockets, and the typical gatekeepers who insisted that women's sports don't sell are forced to reconsider.
So that's I had no one really to look up to when it came to professional basketball or professional sports here in the Midwest. And so I always just knew that I wanted to be that somebody. And so once I put my mind to something, I kind of do it. And so that's really where my inspiration was.
Sophie's story, therefore, isn't just about an underdog rising above expectations. It's a blueprint for how personality, timing, and fan loyalty can align to elevate women's basketball in ways previously considered impossible. When you see fans clamoring for a jersey in a state that supposedly only cares about one or two top stars, you realize that the market is broader, more inclusive, and more passionate than the doubters ever imagined. This moment is a wake-up call to sponsors, advertisers, and the league itself. The WNBA is ripe for explosive growth, and Indiana just proved it in dramatic fashion. Of course, with any sudden surge in popularity comes a wave of rumors, half-truths, and all-out controversies. While the Indiana front office celebrates record-breaking merchandise sales, insiders whisper about tension brewing in other locker rooms. Some sources claim that a few high-profile players are fuming in private, unimpressed by the league's sudden spotlight on Sophie Cunningham. The question that stirs the pot: why is a role player from another team capturing the public's imagination more than proven superstars? Talk of bigger controversies also swirls. Some fans dredge up Sophie's past run-ins on the court, pointing to her feisty gameplay as evidence of a deeper, perhaps ruthless, competitive streak that might not sit well with certain veterans. Others brush it off, celebrating her grit as a breath of fresh air in a league that occasionally tries to brand itself around squeaky clean images. Then there are the speculations regarding behind-the-scenes spats. Are certain players or coaches pushing back against the growing Sophie mania, worried it could overshadow their own projects or sponsorship deals? Simultaneously, rumblings about bigger off-court issues keep emerging, though they mostly stay in rumor territory. Words like accusations surfaced or undisclosed tension get tossed around, fueling curiosity without providing many concrete details. Did Sophie's outspoken confidence rub a league executive the wrong way? Were sponsors blindsided by the speed at which they ran out of stock, leading to friction over supply chain decisions? No one seems to know the full story, and that vacuum of reliable information is precisely what keeps the speculation going. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's social feeds have been scrutinized for even the slightest hint of jealousy. Fans dissect her every tweet, looking for coded references to Sophie or the Fever's newfound hype. So far, A'ja's public stance remains mostly upbeat, focusing on her own game and continuing to engage with her loyal fans. But for conspiracy theorists, any chance sighting of shade is further evidence that tensions are building behind closed doors. The drama might be overshadowing the everyday hustle of the WNBA season, yet also drives up viewership and fan engagement. In an era where attention is gold, maybe this brewing friction is exactly what the league needs to keep fans tuning in. Beyond the salacious rumors and sold-out jerseys lies a core reality. The Indiana Fever have just become a prime destination for players looking to make their mark. For years, certain teams were considered the glamour franchises.
I think that when this opportunity came about, when I first heard about it, I was so excited. Like I just knew that it was my time to get outside my comfort zone. The style of play that you guys are playing here, that Stephanie is going to bring here.
Hoarding the biggest stars and dominating headlines. But Indiana's fans are flipping that script. With Sophie's arrival, and the possibility of even bigger names like Caitlin Clark eventually joining, a blueprint is emerging for how a smaller market franchise can leverage fan loyalty to become a top contender. Imagine you're a free agent, weighing your options. One team has a flashy city, storied tradition, and a big sponsor lineup. Another team, Indiana, has fans who sell out your jersey before you've even taken a warm-up shot. Which would you choose? Players talk, agents do the math, and suddenly that second scenario starts looking mighty appealing. Fan support translates into better endorsements, higher jersey sales, and personal branding opportunities that can outshine even the biggest markets. It also fosters a sense of belonging and appreciation that money can't always buy. That might sound romantic, but the numbers support it. Indiana's merchandise sales for the offseason alone have soared, pushing the franchise's marketing revenue to uncharted heights. Ticket sales are climbing too, as fans anticipate a new era, a chance to see whether Sophie's bravado can spark a winning record. Sponsors have taken notice, cutting bigger deals, and local businesses want a piece of the action. Economically, the Fever are setting themselves up to be a strong player in the league's growth, possibly attracting other dynamic talents who crave a fan base that resonates with personality-driven basketball. Meanwhile, front offices around the WNBA are scrambling to adapt. Some are rethinking their marketing approaches, focusing less on carefully manicured superstar images and more on letting players' real personalities shine. The lesson from Sophie's mania is clear: Authenticity sells. Fans want to feel a genuine connection, and they'll pay top dollar for it, faster than any marketing executive might predict. That shift could be enormous for the league, which has historically struggled to get mainstream recognition. Indiana's new recipe for success: passionate fans, outspoken players, and full-tilt marketing synergy might just be the blueprint that other teams try to replicate moving forward. When Sophie Cunningham stepped off that plane in Indiana, few would have guessed she'd ignite a merch meltdown and spark a league-wide conversation about women's basketball fandom. Yet here we are, witnessing a moment that goes beyond one player or one franchise. This is about the evolution of the WNBA, how a fan base can celebrate newcomers like lifelong superstars, how authenticity can drive massive sales, and how conventional wisdom, small markets can't compete, can be turned upside down overnight. The question now is how far this energy can carry the fever. Will their newfound momentum transform them into a playoff threat, or even a championship contender down the line? Will established superstars step up and reclaim the spotlight, or will this be the first ripple of a larger wave that brings new faces and fiercer personalities to the forefront? And in a league brimming with undiscovered talent, what happens when each fresh arrival learns from Sophie's playbook? Show up, be fearless, and connect with fans at a deeper level.